Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. These Democrats, they're such sore losers, aren't they? You know, they're just the type of people who can never say anything nice about the other side. Everything's partisan, and they always have to twist reality, twist the facts to back up and defend their narrative. They simply cannot give credit where credit is due. It's an unheard level of derangement. Donald Trump, Republicans, even when they're winning, according to Democrats, they're always losing, right? Donald Trump comes in 2016, takes over the show, and boom, we see some of the greatest economic numbers in years, basically since maybe the 1980s, 1990s. A huge success, I mean, everybody's eating. But according to them, according to the Democrat, it's only billionaires who are benefiting. And actually, even though they argue that Donald Trump's economy was crap, at the same time, they make the argument that really it was a great economy, but it wasn't Donald Trump's credit to take, it was Barack Obama. And of course, they do this with everything, whether it's the border, peace deals, trade deals. Donald Trump simply can never get a win. And now we have Democrats doing the exact same thing in typical Democrat sore loser fashion. Trump makes history, the culture shifts entirely, but according to these clowns, there's no shift that happened here, no significant shift. How utterly pathetic. I have this delusional clip from none other than expert reality denier Stacey Abrams. I want to show you guys what she said, and then of course I want to completely dismantle and debunk it. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so this popped up on my timeline here. The cope is real. Election denier Stacey Abrams refuses to admit that Trump win was a, quote, seismic shift. Just take a look at this.
We keep misremembering what happened in November. Yes, Donald Trump won the election, but this wasn't a landslide. It was an evenly divided nation. He got more people, but this was not this seismic shift where 58% of America said no. It was less than 50% of the electorate who said, this is what we want. Our responsibility is for decency to show those who stayed home, those who stayed silent, that there is a place for decency and a place for them. That's the work that has to be done next. Not trying to replicate the bad, but trying to amplify and make good an attractive opportunity, an attractive option, and a true choice.
Yep, Stacey Abrams, the queen of denialism, is at it again. After refusing to admit that she lost her gubernatorial race, not once but twice, she's now, I guess, taking her delusions to the next level, claiming essentially that Trump doesn't have a mandate and there was no seismic political shift in the last election of all elections. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? It's absolutely insane. There was a monumental shift, and it's not like you need to look hard to find it. Funnily enough, we keep seeing Democrats pointing at the results of the last election as if it proves their case that there's no mandate or no shift. But in order to prove that there was a monumental shift, well, all you need to do is look at the results of the 2024 election, and they essentially prove it. You know, what it seems like is the Democrats are clinging on to their House numbers as if it's a life raft in this whole situation. As if the slim majority that Republicans won in the House makes the case for the point they're trying to make. But obviously the results of these House elections aren't really the best indicator for what's going on here. House races are mostly local, and really that's not where the shift is happening. The shift is happening more on a federal level and really more on an executive level. Trump represents the shift, not the more irrelevant House races where half these people, let's be totally frank, are bought off empty soup politician shills. And again, just reiterating my point, congressional races are hyper-localized, and usually the results of these elections are specific to the district's own issues. Then of course we have gerrymandering, the political talent that's out there, let's call it local personalities. These races don't carry the same national implications as a presidential race. And the fact is, on a federal, executive, and cultural level, there was a monumental shift, and Trump embodies that shift. Just look at the numbers. Donald Trump didn't just win, he won the popular vote as a Republican in 2024, which is almost unheard of in modern times.
First of all, I'm not going to worry about it, Phil, because he's not going to win. She's definitely going to win the popular vote, as Democrats almost always do now.
It's become a foregone conclusion now. Democrats always win the popular vote. A Republican could never win the popular vote. Well, you mean to tell me that something that was deemed essentially impossible or nearly impossible going into the election actually happened? Precedent shifted so dramatically to where Donald Trump seemed to pull off the near impossible. I mean, that's what happened, right? But we're supposed to look at that and say, not so significant at all now, is it? Give me a break. I mean, it's not just the shift. What we saw was unprecedented. And it's not just in the popular vote numbers. You also have to look at the general conversation of the country and what direction that conversation is headed in. election and where the people stand on the issues, on policy. No seismic shift, the Democrats are arguing. But we saw millions of Americans shift their support. And we also saw millions of Americans slowly over the last 4 years, almost systematically, one by one, reject every Democrat narrative that they spent so much time and money building up. Voters rejected the January 6th hysteria. They rejected the lies about the border crisis. We went from Donald Trump is a racist and walls are racist and borders are racist to a vast majority of the American electorate supporting mass deportation and Donald Trump's plan to build a wall and secure the border. But no shift, you say? Give me a freaking break. What we're seeing in America and really, frankly, across the Western world is a huge political shift and cultural shift. And really, you see it in the embrace of Donald Trump. Because for years, and especially over the last little bit, I mean, it was kind of the crux of their argument as to why Kamala Harris was going to win. Trump had ruined his reputation. He's a pariah. The whole world hates him. Everybody hates Trump. The Republicans don't even like Trump and they won't show up to vote for him. That's what they were saying, right? But we're seeing the exact opposite. We have seen a huge transformation in how the public locally, domestically, and even from a foreign context, we've seen a huge transformation in how the people view Donald Trump. When he first took office in 2016, he was widely viewed as the most polarizing president in modern history. The media had successfully painted him as divisive, an unqualified outsider, a real bad guy, right? And his numbers indicated it. He came into office with some of the lowest approval ratings I've ever seen from a first-term president. They essentially were trying to turn him into a disgrace, a laughingstock. They wanted him to be a one-term president and then forever walk away in shame. But if we look from 2016 to now, I mean, what a stark difference. Trump goes from unqualified, least popular political pariah to now, let's just say it, one of the freaking greats. Donald Trump is now seen as one of the most consequential and most successful presidents in modern history. And don't take my word for it. Just look at the most recent poll. Look at the numbers. Donald Trump is now making a play for that #1 spot. He's getting close to the Obama numbers. And of course, let's be honest, numbers that Obama certainly doesn't deserve. He's had the media propping him up 24/7 for essentially the last 16 years. Meanwhile, Trump has had to fight tooth and nail against arguably the most coordinated smear campaign in American history. And so just thinking about that contrast, now that Trump is also viewed so positively, I'd say it speaks volumes to the sheer power of the MAGA movement and really the right-wing cultural shift that we are seeing. Despite the constant attacks, despite never getting favorable coverage, Trump is competing with Obama. Obama is treated as a deity. I mean, it's weird, to be honest. It's like the cult of Obama. It's always projection, right? The same thing that they say with Donald Trump is basically what they do with their own leaders. Obama's kind of more of a celebrity than he is an actual leader. Everywhere the guy goes, the entire establishment kisses his feet and makes it seem as if frickin' Jesus just walked in the room. Let's be real. Donald Trump never had any of that, yet he's competing in the same realm in terms of numbers, in terms of the view from the people. In other words, a seismic shift from where he was initially in 2016, despite the onslaught of attacks. Yet these people have the audacity to claim there was no seismic shift. You are out of your mind. And it's obvious what this is. It's denial. And of course, it's just typical Democrat sore loser behavior. These Democrats are essentially grasping at straws because they can't accept the reality that their narratives have been totally and utterly rejected. They spent years trying to convince the American people that Donald Trump was a villain and that his supporters were deplorable, and of course that their progressive agenda was inevitable. But the people have spoken, and the message is clear that the Democrats are no longer the majority cultural force in America. Those are the facts, at least the way I see them. And so my perception of these Democrat takes that we keep covering is they're trying to rewrite history, they're trying to rewrite reality, and pretend that what is happening isn't actually happening. But no matter how much they try to spin it, in my view, it doesn't change the facts. The Trump movement is now bigger than ever. Meanwhile, the Democrats, frankly, are on their last leg, culturally, politically, and ideologically, and deep down they know it. It was a seismic shift, it is a mandate, and that remains the fact no matter how many times Democrats kick, squeal, and screech. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You know, people like Stacey Abrams and other Democrats get to go on all these shows and say all these ridiculous things, and they never get any pushback from the anchors. So I guess I feel it's my duty to step in. You know, miss me with this copium nonsense. That's it. That's the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.